What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. So in my recent video I made, I was talking about, basically I posed the question, do black Americans hate Caitlin Clark? I didn't pose the question, I named my video that. Me knowing that black people do not hate Caitlin Clark, I explained why you saw a lot of black folks rooting for other teams that Caitlin Clark was playing against, right? Why you saw black folks rooting for other teams. And I broke it down into prongs, right? 3 prongs. But anyway, under the video, one of my loyal subscribers that always shows love and supports even when he disagrees with things that I'm talking about, or when he disagrees with points that I make, he always shows support and shows love. His name is Andre K. Perez 412. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right? So he basically was like, you should talk about the hate for Angel Reese. And I said, that's a great topic. That's a great topic because I've always talked about it with my boy on the phone, my boy Melvin, but I never brought it to the channel. And I'm like, yeah, I need to talk about that, right? Because the hate that Angel Reese received is why you saw a lot of black folks rooting for other teams that were against Caitlin Clark, right? Because Angel Reese, after doing the You Can't See Me time against Caitlin Clark, she was unfairly villainized, scrutinized, maligned, right? And oh my gosh, she's such a trash talker. She's taunting. When Caitlin Clark was doing the You Can't See Me taunt all through the tournament, doing it to other teams and all of that, right? And she wasn't belittled or looked at as scum or looked at as just being vile or despicable for taunting and trash talking. But Angel Reese was. And we like, yo, what is that about? What's going on? Is it because you see a young black woman taunting or trash talking the beloved and highly publicized white female superstar? So now she's looked at as, Angel Reese is looked at as the villain because she's talking trash to Caitlin Clark. But Caitlin Clark been talking trash the whole tournament. And black folks didn't like that because along with that, you saw individuals like Dave Portnoy. A little bit after the Caitlin Clark situation, Dave Portnoy, he's over Barstool Sports. You know, Dave has a lot of, he says a lot of things that can be has racial overtones to it. That it seems to be rooted into anti-black racism, stuff that Dave Portnoy says and does. He called Angel Reese a piece of shit after something happened. And I'm like, now see, Dave need to be slapped because all that going it was sounding like it sounds way more than basketball with a lot of people that were rooting for Caitlin Clark. You had a lot of people that rooted for Caitlin Clark. Not all, but there was a nice portion of people who rooted for Iowa and Caitlin Clark, who you can see on their social media pages spew anti-black racism, anti-black rhetoric a lot. A lot of this, a nice amount of supporters of Iowa and Caitlin Clark were spewing anti-black racism towards Angel Reese, LSU's team, Fly J. Johnson, you know, talking about her father being a rapper, all of that. We saw that. And there's a lot of black folks that are like, you know what? No, man, I'm rooting for every team that's playing against Caitlin Clark because we see it's a segment of the American population. It's a terrible segment of the American population who are being attached or attaching themselves to Iowa and Caitlin Clark. And black folks like, no, man, we got to protect Angel Reese and them. So we going to root for LSU. We going to root for Don Staley in South Carolina because we don't like what people are using Caitlin Clark and Iowa to represent. They're using them as representation of something else. And it wasn't Caitlin Clark's fault. She not telling all the racist people to rally behind me. And she not telling people to trash Angel Reese, and she ain't telling folks to belittle Angel Reese or villainize her, but it played out how it played out. You saw a black young woman being looked at, degraded, and being raked through the coals for taunting, which is something that a lot of men's sport players do all the time. Players in sports do it all the time regardless, right? Caitlin Clark was doing it. We saw her wave off Raven Johnson last year when Raven was at the top of the key getting ready to shoot the 3. Caitlin Clark waved her off like she wasn't nothing. Like, I don't worry about her. She ain't nothing. She ain't on nothing. Waved her off like she wasn't nothing, which is trash talking. Basically saying you ain't shit. Go ahead, shoot the ball, whatever. You ain't gonna do nothing with it. You ain't gonna do nothing with it. Everybody that knows basketball or watches basketball knows that's disrespectful, right? But Caitlin Clark did not receive any of the scrutiny or the criticism that Angel Reese received. You know what I mean? And black folks saw that like, nah, man, we ain't riding with that. And that's why you saw people, black folks, rooting for other teams like LSU and South Carolina when they played against Iowa, because it's like, yo, you know, in the spirit of protecting a young black girl who ain't doing nothing crazy, who ain't out here wilding out, acting ignorant, doing wild, dumb, silly stuff. She ain't doing none of that. It's just trash talking on the court, which is what athletes do a lot. And it ain't like she calling folks out their name, or just like she just out here just being just vile and despicable and low down or nothing. She not doing a simple taunt or whatever, doing all of that. You know, girls do, people taunt all the time in sports. And so, you know, we watch Angel Reese be called every name under the sun or looked at like that. And when Caitlin Clark do it, she not getting the same type of criticism, or she not getting the same type of the criticisms or negative coverage. She's not getting that negative coverage when she taunts. So black folks, we protect, not all of us, but majority of us in our community are protective of our people. So people came and put a shield around Angel Reese and was like, nah, we rooting for them. We ain't rocking with Caitlin Clark because of that. You know what I mean? And Angel Reese was unfairly villainized for no reason, just because she was taunting the all-American beloved white female superstar. Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? It didn't make no sense. She was unfairly criticized and all that, when we see it in sports all the time. And you saw people talking about Angel Reese in a way where it was apparently, it was apparent that the criticism towards Angel Reese was more than just basketball. It was more than just, oh, I'm mad that my team, she's taunting my favorite player. It was some other stuff. You know what I mean? And it was rooted in some anti-black racism. Black folks saw that and said, oh, no, we ain't going for it. So we rooting for the opposition against Caitlin Clark. It wasn't hate for Caitlin Clark. It wasn't despising her or nothing like that. It was like, yo, nah, we got to be riding with, you know, Angel Reese and them for, you know, the young black lady for being villainized for no apparent reason, but doing something that all sports players do, doing something that Caitlin Clark herself does, you know. And Angel Reese is a great player. Like in the game, the Final Four game, where she had like 17, 20 rebounds or something like that, 17 points, 20 rebounds, something crazy. So it just shows you what type of player she is, and how dominant she can be, for real. And I think she can continue that at another level. She's young, 21 years old, 6'3". She looked like she about 6'4". You know, got a high motor, relentlessness, perseverance that you would want in a lot of players, man. And in the post-game press conference after losing, you saw all those emotions spill out about, hey, man, you know, I'm going out here hooping, and people turning it into something else. I'm being villainized and all of that. She talked about being sexualized too, but being villainized and all of that, when, you know, y'all made me the villain. And she just played into it because, hey man, whatever I got to do to give me a competitive edge to keep going. And really, it wasn't no over the top antics. It was just like regular everyday like trash talking that people do. You know what I mean? It wasn't like she was in there talking crazy. Like, no, man. And Angel Reese, like I said, I think people just didn't want nobody to say nothing to Caitlin Clark. You know, there's a segment of the American population that didn't want nobody saying nothing to the white American female superstar who is the all-American girl, who is, you know, getting all the coverage and getting plastered everywhere. And they like, don't you say nothing to her. Don't you taunt her. And it's like, bro, she taunting everybody else. She taunting other people. Why people can't taunt her back? Come on, man, that ain't how life works. You can't do something against other people and then they can't do it back or respond, or you can't do something and then think other people ain't gonna do it to you when you know, because it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Y'all know how that go. It's cool when you do it. It's a problem. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it, type of thing. Come on, man, and it don't go like that. It don't go like that, man. So it was never hate towards Caitlin Clark. As far as like when it came to the fans, I don't really think majority of the black fans, it wasn't that. It was just that people were rooting for like LSU and South Carolina because they didn't like how Angel Reese was portrayed as the villain when she taunted taunted Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark was doing all the taunting, and it was no type of like vile criticism aimed in her direction. It was no vitriol aimed in her direction like it was for Angel Reese, man. And it was unfair and unnecessary because it was more than basketball with the criticism for Angel Reese.